Right, okay, so here we are today. Uh, number one learning experience around um, Atlantic redaction or action, whichever we want to go way we want to go with that. So we got Matt in the luxurious travel lodge of Runcorn.
Hold on a minute. Premier
Premier
in.
Inn.
Travel lodge
Oh,
first.
I did you a disservice
Yeah,
there, didn't I?
don't do it.
But,
Don't do him down. Come on.
and then we've got Jez actually in a travel lodge, so very posh one. Right, so we're going to start off today. Let's have a look at the Super Bowl, Week 14, as it's glamorously known as. You think they'd be able to come up with something a little bit more glamorous for a bowl week, wouldn't you? Week 14, come on, say how it is. Right.
It's hardly. Yeah,
Try and
it
work.
sex it up a little bit.
I think on Game Pass they do it something like that as well. I'm sure it says week 22 or whatever it is or some crap.
Oh, the glamour.
I know.
So here we go. So, what do you think then? Anyone want to get us kicked off for talking about the Bath Snow Bears? Another glorious season for them.
Go for it, Jez. I ain't even looked at it.
Well, we played them twice, so I knew they were a good side. We were fortunate to beat them only because we had home field advantage, and it was a close game. But got our asses kicked when we went to Bath, and again in the playoffs. They're just a really strong side. Their defence ties you up in knots, and we've got an okay offence this season, and we've got a good special teams which does a lot of the job for us. But Bath, it's difficult to see where the Snow Bears' weaknesses are, and I picked them as bowl champions again. I suppose it's easy enough to pick a young team that won the bowl last year to win it again. I picked them at the start of the season to beat Avalanche, but I thought Avalanche were in the game in the first quarter, and their defence was holding up really well as well. But then the second quarter was just brutal. Snow Bears just completely took control of the game, and they didn't look back from there. It was all done and dusted in that second quarter, really.
Yeah. So what happened there? What was that caused that? Because I'm a bit like Matt. I didn't really tap into the game. I came in and saw the scoreline and saw that devastating Q2, and it's just like, well, what happened there?
It was just a case of the Snow Bears defense kept stopping them, and every time they got a hold of the ball, Wasson got hold of it and just ran for his life. He got a 30-yard pass, a 23-yard pass, a 47-yard pass. That was in the second half, but he was Smither off to Wasson was pretty unstoppable, and they just Avalanche had no answer to them in that quarter. To put up. Thank you. I've just got a cup of tea there. What are you after that? I got 23 unanswered points. You're going to do well to come back from that, and Snow Bears are a good enough team to defend that, even if they have a bit of a wobble. And they threw a few interceptions, which you'll get with a quarterback like Smither off with his QSTs, but they were still never in that much danger. Their defense was too good, and Avalanche didn't play that badly. They came back in the fourth quarter a little bit, but the game was done and dusted by then.
Yeah, it was one of those ones where I keep tapping in and sort of seeing Hill running quite well during the season, but to a 2.5 average this time around, I was quite surprised about that. But then looking at the DT and the one of the, I think it's the left end he's got, which again is another 60S fella. You can see even with that 3-man line, he's probably going to shut up shop more regularly down the middle. But yeah, pass it long, run it wide. Is he a wide runner? I say run it wide, but I guess it is really, isn't it? Yeah, Excalibur is, but the quarterback's always going to be breaking around the outside as well, I guess. Is that run flat?
Yeah. Yeah, there's flat. But the Snowbirds were always going to be a tough nut to crack. They probably overachieved a bit last year in winning the bowl, and Lee will probably admit that he wasn't perhaps expecting to get that far last year because they were a very young side. The fact that they did win the bowl and they did it all on the road last year was massively impressive. And the fact that they did it with such a young team just meant that, you know, the ageing was going to likely going to be kind on them going into this year, and they were going to be comparatively to everyone else's ageing. They were going to start the season stronger and get stronger as they went through, with half decent ageing and half decent coaching. So they were always going to be the team to beat, and it proved so.
Any thoughts, Matt?
The only thing I'd say is that I didn't think the Avalanche were as good this year as they were the year before. Personally, I know my team's was a lot weaker this year, and I beat them once. Admittedly, I don't think they had a motivation coach that week, but I didn't think they were that good. But I knew they were good enough to beat me. But I don't think the CFC is very strong at all at the moment. I think all the strong teams are in the MFC.
Oh, that's interesting. That's an interesting perspective, because I look around and I think the MFC's has quite a few teams in rebuild, and some other teams that they're kind of there, but maybe on the downturn.
Aye, but it's either feast or famine in the FC. I mean, Jez's division, he's got 3 strong teams in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Outlaws are strong.
Outlaws are strong. Blues are strong. How good they are, I'm not really sure. You know, when you compare them to a CFC team, but
Outlaws.
Redcoats, I thought, were a weird team.
Improving rapidly. So
yeah, Redcoats, I thought they finished 5-5, but they were
defense like he wants it yet.
Well, they felt like a really good side. We played them in week 2 away, and we came away with a really narrow win, and we were lucky to win by 3 points. They were a strong side. They gave us a real game. Can't believe they finished 5-5. They struck me as a 7-3, 8-2 type team.
Don't think they've got a good offense. I think that's the problem. Brad always concentrates on his D, so he'll be spending 60 points or whatever the maximum is you can spend on the defense every week.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest shock there for me would be the fact that they beat the Blues in week 8. You look at the other ones that they've won there: Meerkats, Spitfires twice, and the Bay Bears.
Yeah, presumably, is it his second year? Is that his second and Brad's second year? So
I think it might be the third. I think it might be the third, because I think I was still competing when he first rocked in. So let's have a look. What's to say?
He had some close games. I mean, he lost the first 4 games, and 3 of those were by 1 score. One of them by 1 point. And he had a tough opening set of fixtures as well. His first 3 games were Outlaws, Spartans, Snow Bears. So, you know, that's the fixture gods weren't being kind on him there, and he was well in 2 of those 3 games.
I think give it another year.
Yeah, I expect them to be stronger next year.
They're on the up. They're on the up, definitely.
definitely. Might be nice to have at least one other team in there giving James a run for his money, right?
Well, when you decide to spend your first round picks, you'll be giving him a run for your money a year after.
I might do. I was talking to Jez earlier about that. I'm still working out how far I'm deferring to. So we shall see.
I could see you end up with about 15 picks in round one at one draft of the way you're going at the moment.
Well, that'd be great, wouldn't it? That'd be great.
I don't think it'd work. I think
the original conversation I had at one point with who was it with? I think it was one of those things that Todd set up. I think Chris was there, and maybe Driggett was there as well, who's joining the Atlantic. And I was just like, yeah, it might be cool to see if I can get 20 first round picks and just build from 20 first round picks. Nah, that wouldn't be possible. I don't know.
I don't think it would be. I don't think you get 20 coaches to trade your first round picks. I think that's the issue.
That's why I think I need at least 20 second round picks to pick up the pieces and fill up the gaps, right?
You won't be able to coach the buggers.
Oh, yeah. Be magic. Especially if I keep getting that sandbag reward.
Well, Rapier's had 22 first round picks on their roster this year. Didn't do them a lot of good.
You could say that. I couldn't possibly comment. Might get redacted. All right. So
first redaction of many.
Yeah. So anything else we want to talk about on the bowl game? Apart from congratulations, Lee. So good to see you winning in 2 leagues as well. That's great. Awesome.
Yeah, you've got to give it to him. He comes in for a lot of stick from the PTI boys, the sandbagger, whatever,
Yeah.
Tongue in cheek, obviously, but I don't know, it might not be, but you got to give it to him. He's wily. He knows what he's doing.
Of course he does.
He's got the mojo.
Right. Just before we start, do you think it's very predictable? A team winning again and again and again and again. Should Lomo actually happen regardless whether you've got a motivation coach? And just get rid of motivation coaches. So you should lose your 22 levels on your starters regardless.
You get a motivation penalty in certain circumstances, don't you? If you you win the league, if you win your division early or something.
Nah.
I think
that's winning streak. Winning streak, yes.
Yeah.
Is it winning streak, is it?
Seen
okay.
Like week 4 or something, if you're winning constantly, there's more chance of you actually getting Lomo at a random point in the season. My thoughts on it are just put one motivation coach in each league. Because if you really want it, pay for it. If you don't, then so what?
Just get rid of motivation coaches. They're pointless.
I think there's the option. I mean, I tried to buy 3 one season just so that I'd get plus 22 levels on someone. Didn't quite work out. Almost got it, but that was the whole reason. It's kind of like if you've got a team in week 2 who is really strong but haven't been and were in the bowl the previous year, you've got a chance if they don't pick up a motivation coach. I always think
it's a kick in the nuts for the team that loses the bowl to then be punished with Lomo.
Well, but you're not. Supposedly, it's you've won your bowl, you've won your conference, so you've won that. I know nobody gives a monkeys about winning the conference. You want to win the bowl or not? But
yeah.
I'll tell you who gives a damn about winning the conference. The person who loses the Super Bowl. You don't go up front at a live draft for winning the Super Bowl. You go up because you won the conference.
You don't get it mentioned in next
never
week's.
touch the big shiny trophy at the front that's there. You know, you never get to touch that. It's always pick your medal up and away you go. So even if
It
you
doesn't
win,
get.
even if you win the Super Bowl, you just kind of look at it in the distance and go, "Oh, that looks great. Wish I could get my hands on that."
Conference winner doesn't get mentioned in the next week's game preview either, does it? And
No.
you're up against Greg Thomason, conference winner from 2007.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's a little bit more recognition for it now because I think when you go into like the team management page and things like that, it's there's more kind of conference winners and Pro Bowl nominations and things like that. So you can see how many times as well you've been nominated for the Pro Bowl.
Don't even get.
It doesn't
Don't even get me started.
it doesn't even correlate whether you actually did get it or didn't get it. You know.
I think I've done it once in 30 odd seasons or whatever it is. Once I think I've done it, which makes me laugh. I didn't even bother with a Pro Bowl this year. I didn't even vote. That's how bored I was with it.
Yeah, that's the topic for a whole other day. I think the Pro Bowl, the popularity contest that it turns into. So many different perspectives on that. But anyway, let's have a little look. So
One thing on that, just before we touch on that, I'd like to see all of the coaches that have made it to the playoffs be voided from Pro Bowl or being voided from being able to be Pro Bowl coach. I think it should go to people who aren't involved in the postseason. You know, share the wealth a little bit, spread it around a bit. It just generates a little bit more interest for someone whose team isn't doing anything anymore. And the guys that are in the postseason, they've got their focus elsewhere. So, I don't know how they do that. I don't know the logistics of it. I don't know if that's a popular opinion or not, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I think from what I've seen, the way in which the Richies talk about it, it's kind of like if a team wants to organise themselves to do it in a way that allows for that, then go ahead and do it. But if you don't want to and you just want to see what comes along, then that's the way it is. And I kind of agree with them, right? It's kind of there are so many people with different perspectives on it, and different leagues you go to, they take it in a different vein, you know.
And it goes to from one extreme to the other. It goes from people who are super enthusiastic about it, and like you say, email all of the rest of the people in their division and say, you've got to vote for this person. Tell me, who you think should be playing it, who's nominated here, and others who absolutely can't give a monkeys about it. They just think it's a bit of fluff and bluster.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think we had a post coming to on the Discord this time around where somebody asked, "Can anybody give me a nomination for safety level 17 or above?" Because they didn't know who to vote for, so they're asking who's got safety level 17 that we can nominate, so we'll have one of the best safeties in the. And for me, I'm just like, if they're level 17, maybe they've been injured for half the season. Maybe they only play 2 games because they got a G. Why do I want to vote them into the Pro Bowl? Take a look at the stats.
Yeah.
Have a look at who's had some good games, MVPs, whatever. Look at it from that point of view. But.
And you end up getting some weird nominations as well because some people look at the season stats and they'll have a look at tackles, for example, particularly on defense. They'll have a look at tackles and they'll see one DT or a linebacker that's had a shed load of tackles, way more than anyone else. But it's because they're a rebuilding team, because they're absolutely shite, because their defense is on the field the whole game, and they just rack up tackles because they're stood there. They're probably level 7 or level 8 year 0, and there might be a good player in 3 or 4 years' time. But they get nominated because they've got 60, 80, 100 more tackles than anyone else, and think, oh, that's a good person. He's got a load of tackles, but he's just on a really, really shit side.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is what it is.
It is indeed, but we're one for another day. So I was gonna try and see if we could have a little chat about who's coach. Well, I suppose it's a good segue really because we've been talking about the Pro Bowl, and I think Jez, you've been nominated and will be or have set game plan, and game plan has run, and we may find out what result is at some point in September, or before September, or somewhere after September, possibly when season 38 starts, maybe before it starts, but at some point we will see the Pro Bowl run, and hopefully you've done a great job of that. But
certainly haven't set any game planned yet. It's not come up on my screen yet.
Has it not? Oh,
no.
It's probably run already, Jez. Sorry, mate. So you've let us down already. You've let us down.
Yeah, the Pro Bowls are normally really, really speedy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But you still got to have the game plan done the same time that the bowl game plan's supposed to be ready. So it's done. Congratulations. And hopefully we'll see the result sometime in 2023. So who is your coach of the season who maybe didn't get a Pro Bowl? Jez. Let's start with Jez. You're at the right caliber. Pro Bowl coach. Who's your coach of the season?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm right up there. Coach of the season. Without wanting to go for the obvious, let's ignore Lee for the purposes of this segment, I suppose. I thought Nick Taylor did a really good job. He managed to avoid his normal 5-5 wipeout by going 8-2 this year. I think he was probably a bit disappointed in himself for doing that, but good job nonetheless. Bob Speakman did a really good job with the Comets this year as well, taking them to 7-3. And Colin as well. Colin did a good job with the Heroes in a division that you probably at the start of the season might have thought the Barbarians would have won, and you probably would have expected more of the Generals as well. But yeah, I don't know. You can tell I've put a lot of research and thought into this subject before we've come on.
So out of those ones, who are you giving it to? Who's your coach of the season? Drum roll.
My coach of the season, dun dun dun. I'd give it to Colin actually. I'd give it to Colin at the Heroes, because I don't think he was expected at the start of the season. I don't think many people would have said they would have gone 8-2 over the Barbarians. Beat the General. Did they beat the Generals twice? No, they didn't. They lost the first game away at Generals, but came back after that. They went and lost to the Scorpions, but there you go. You've got to pick someone. Yeah. For me, it'd be between Nick and Colin.
Yeah, no, Colin. Much kudos to him. He's done one of these one of the slower rebuilds. He's been up here for a fair few seasons now, and he seems to be peaking. So yeah. How about you, Matt? Who's on your list?
Well, the Scorps beat me, so maybe I can go with Nick. I mean, you could argue Johnny's had a good season. It's not easy sometimes taking over an existing bowl team and basically continuing their success.
He has had a good season for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes you want to change your style and play it how you want to, but sometimes you just got to go with the flow. So.
And James as well. You've got to give kudos to James. We don't want to blow too much smoke up his arse, but he's had a really good season as well.
Yeah, weak division though. Weak division.
Yeah, there is that.
Yeah, I can't have James having any kudos, especially as he didn't turn up for this.
Shocker.
Something or something like that. But yeah.
I don't think he exists. He's just an AI program. That's what it is.
You reckon? You reckon?
Yeah, well, we've never seen him before. We've never seen him yet, have we? So, he
Well,
couldn't just be it.
it's a bit like me and you, Matt. When I came in to the Big Sky and took over the Rough Riders, they thought I was you, and they'd never seen us in the same room at the same time. That they
Oh,
thought
no.
we were
Holton
the
loved
same
me.
person because we all knew how to rip off the Bombers. Anyway, so we got Nick. Nick's your vote then, Matt, and Colin's yours.
Nick or Johnny, one of the two.
Johnny. Yeah, I think
I'll go for Nick because he beat me when I wasn't expecting it. He beat me by a few points, I think it was.
Yeah, no, I think that's a fair shout. The perennial 5 and 5. I don't know if he was more shocked than everybody else that he made 8 and 2 or not. I don't know. So yeah, that's good. That's a good shout. And yeah, coaches coming into pre-built teams, it's a double-edged sword. Because if you do win it, you get other people going, I built that team, and then nobody.
I never said that to you, did I? I never said that to you, did I?
No. But I'll tell you what, there was plenty of people who did. There was plenty of people who did, and again, I don't know whether that's potentially, Lottie didn't really interact much, and she had sounded like quite a strong team walking into the Rapiers, and maybe it's not quite the same when you're walking in. And
well, interestingly, I was caretaking her old team in whatever old league she was in during the draft, which I found strange that I suddenly ended up caretaking that, but she was in the Atlantic and whatever else. It just seemed a bit strange that was. And it's like
that was in the Empire, wasn't it? That was
the Empire. I can't remember what league it was. Regardless of what league, and it was a strong team that she'd got in the Empire because I was trying to work out why the hell I'd been asked to caretake it. To be honest, there was very few holes in it whatsoever. So
she's left the game now, hasn't she? She's quit the Rapiers, and I think she's dropped her college team as well.
Yeah, that's right. So I think she's stepping away at the moment. So hopefully everything's all right, and it's just falling out of love with the game for a little bit. So
yeah, indeed.
But yeah, right. Okay. So and the last thing I was going to see if we could try and work through was were there any standout players? Anyone that you thought to yourself, that's the player I want to have on my roster? While you have a think about that, I'm just going to talk about one of mine, because I would nominate my cornerback Strauss as my player of the season, because he spent a lot of time on the field, but we played a couple of teams that didn't even pass it, and he still managed to get 16 interceptions and beat the league record. So
he's beating Hackenberg or whatever his name is, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's lucky he did it in 9 games, because the Nighthawks basically turned up with, I don't even know what they were putting on the field, but they proper made sure they went from pick 4 to pick 3 in that final game of the season. So I don't think they even threw it. So yeah, that's my nomination for setting a new league record for interceptions for the season. And I couldn't be asked looking at other teams.
Just looking at the quarterbacks, one of them, Sills at the Tigers, had a crazy season. Really, he was the 8th highest yardage passer, so he was up there in terms of yards gained. 81% completion percentage, which is ludicrous. 105 passer rating, but he only threw 12 touchdowns all season, which is nuts.
How many interceptions did he have, Jez?
7.
Was it a more exactly? Yeah.
Only 7. He had insane stats all the way through, apart from touchdowns, where he only had 12. And they've got a running game, so they try and punch the ball over the line with the ground game. But even so, you'd still think that a passer that's on 81% completion percentage would throw a few more in.
I don't know, the QB ratings any. What was the QB rating? 105, 107?
105, yeah.
Yeah, it's not a very good QB rating for that.
It's the second best in the league.
I know, it's still not. If I'm going back to real American football. Is it? That's still not a great 105's top 10 quarterback, maybe. It's not.
But we can't compare them to NFL. We can only compare them to the other guys around them in this, aren't we? I agree with you completely in terms of the real life comparison, but against the other guys in the list, there was Howard at the Avalanche got a QB rating of 113, but then Sills was second best on that at 105.
Yeah, that's a short yardage game they're playing, is it? Because again, if it's short yardage, less chance of breakaways, and potentially he has got that decent running back. But if he's getting into red zone territory or 5 yards, maybe he's just switching to the run and away you go. So could be that maybe.
Yeah,
we'll never find out because we'll never get Mark to ever talk.
Do you know what? I got an email back from him.
Way!
I got an email back from him. I actually sent him a message.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to accumulate some picks in the first round. I'm like, well, I need to try and see if I can tap into some of the ones that never actually trade them out. So I sent him a message, said, look, I'm getting rid of some decent run line linemen. I see you got a run line running back. Here they are. Do you fancy them? Came back, said, no, I'm all right, thanks. And that's all I got.
You got a response though.
I did.
Yeah.
That's all right. You don't mind that if you get a response. There's nothing more annoying than sending out a message and then just getting nothing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So you've traded with Mike as well.
The 2-week trade period. The 2-week trade, as it is usually.
The trade comes up. I'm looking for this. I've got all of these. You're like, oh yes, I'll have some of that. And then nothing until 2 hours before the deadline. And then
it all goes apeshit.
Yeah, and actually when I actually traded the quarterback off of him, Ryder, I'm not entirely sure whether he actually had me bidding against myself to bump the price up. Because in the end, for what I paid for it, I look at him like nobody else came anywhere near this, surely, for a short zone quarterback. So I reckon he was just like, I was sending him in, he's like, I've got somebody else coming with this. It just felt like whatever I went with, it's like, someone else has come in. I'm like, shut up, I can't really go much higher. I think I paid like the equivalent, like a couple of firsts or something, a couple of seconds, and I'm just like, why did I pay that for a quarterback? But there you go.
Going back to the segment, if we're talking running backs, I'll take Colas all day. Guy's a monster.
I'm gonna have to work out this screen sharing thing on this. Hey, there we go. Right, Colas, yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
What's his average?
6.5.
5.9.
Level 21 then.
27 yards. 27 TDs for the season. Not a bad return. And what they came in, it was third in the league in your division, right?
Third, yeah. Yeah, 6 and 4.
Did they make the playoffs with that or
no?
No. Yeah. That roster must be pretty decent. And 6 and 4, you got to think to yourself, how does that happen?
Don't know. How many times did they play you, Jez? Twice?
Played us. Yeah, twice.
And then I think they played James's team as well. Didn't they play the Outlaws as well? I think they had a ridiculous.
No, they didn't play the Outlaws.
No.
They played Snow Bears twice.
So that's 2 potential losses as well.
Yeah, they were our only regular season defeat away at Rapiers. We lost by 1 point, 48-49 on theirs. We nearly came away with it. That would have given us first seed if we'd have managed to turn that around, but 1 point cost us.
Yeah, they did.
The other running back I really like the look of, who's going to be, I think, a really good player in a few years, and also has potentially the best name in the league, is Hugh Le Dispenser.
Oh, the Anacondas.
Yeah, what a great name that is, Matt. You're the king of dodgy names coming from college. Is he one of yours?
No, I don't think so. I didn't have that many dodgy.
There's your dodgy one. At number 4,
You've got all the dodgy names.
Through Hole. I mean, that has got to be one of the worst names ever. Run Through Hole.
Sometimes, you know what? Sometimes it's like everybody else picks autofill because you can see the same names all the time. And I'm like, at least I try and pick a blooming unique name that people will remember.
Here comes the pain.
Yeah, my DN. Here comes the pain. Yeah.
Oh look, there's the Tigers running back as well. He got 20 TDs, so maybe he was finishing off a lot of the Tigers' business.
Yeah.
I'll tell you who will be a good running back in about 2 seasons' time. Is my new halfback. Down. Yeah, Down. Watch out for it. Yeah. To be fair, he was a college player. I didn't name him, so
his first name Get Him.
I think it's Johnny. I think I could change his first name. Can't I? I must have to change it. I'll be honest, names are the least about as exciting to me as player faces and God knows what else.
Oh, come on, mate. You've got to get into the face plating, you know.
I get my kids to do them usually.
Yeah, same here. They're like, oh, I'm gonna put this. Oh, what do you say? He's a punter, and they find the fattest face. Just like, no, I've got the fattest punter in the league. Or, you know, you've got these linemen, and there's this like rake thin player and face, and just like, oh yeah, looks just like a lineman. There's 370 pounds of lineman right there with a perm. Yeah. So you got any players you want to call out, Matt? Anything you noticed this season? Just like, you know, this would have been the game changer for me.
I'll be honest. I tried to get Kolos in the last off season, but I had no replies back. I tried to get White off the Comets, couldn't get him either. Although, to be honest, I think White's level wasn't that exciting to me. To be honest, I think he was about level 16 when I tried to get hold of him. I think he's on the board for level 14 now or 15. I can't remember what it was.
You could have had Brennan off me.
Didn't want him. One high enough level.
He was 18, I think.
Nah, one high enough level. I knew what the price would be, Jez. That's probably what more I was. I was like, hey. I copy 2 first, 2 seconds, and God knows what else. So
listen, the complaint.
Don't tar us with your brush.
Yeah, absolutely. The complaining from the person who sets the price mark in the league, and then says, "Oh, other people coming in with ridiculous prices."
And you noticed I've not set any prices up this time. I didn't think I'm going to actually bother this time.
Oh yeah, I mean
it was last season. It was the wanting a first for an age 9 player.
Indeed. Yeah, he was worth it. He's worth it. Do you see how many yards he got?
No age 9 players worth a first.
Hey, he could have won. You know, he could have won a team of ball. You know, that might have been the player that got you over the.
He might have also been injured in week 1.
He played all season actually.
Who's this Reed?
Yeah, played every game. I think he got 1,500 yards in the end of the season, something like that.
Has he got a Wellman or what's the other?
I don't think he is a Wellman. No, I don't. Oh, he might be actually. I can't remember.
Yeah, it's maybe worth. See, I'd maybe have a dabble if they've got a couple of attributes. That Wellman one seems to, you know.
The Wellman's a brilliant one for a running back.
Yeah.
It's a brilliant for a running back.
Yeah, Wellman, Red Zoner, Showman. That'd be great.
Showman's Well Zone and Showman's probably the best ones.
Right. Okay. So I think that'll do us for what we wanted to cover off. Thanks for your time.